Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're here again taking a look at some really compelling ideas, trying to, you know, cut through the noise and give you the core insights. Today we're tackling something that sounds, well, it sounds tough, honestly, self-discipline.
It does sound tough, but it's fascinating because our sources frame it as the absolute cornerstone of freedom, which seems counterintuitive at first.
Right. Discipline equals freedom.
Exactly. We're diving deep into a framework that really sees discipline not as some kind of restriction, but as the deciding factor for success. And not just in one area, but across like 18 different aspects of life.
18. Wow.
Yeah, everything from finance and health to, leadership and even just achieving peace of mind. So our mission today is really to get past that surface level idea that discipline is just about forcing yourself to do things you hate.
Like eating kale when you want pizza.
Well, maybe sometimes. But more deeply, it's about extracting the actual mechanisms that let some people achieve really extraordinary results.
Okay, let's set the stage here because this feels important. The material makes a huge point about this not being about motivation, right?
Absolutely critical distinction. We all know motivation. It's fickle. Comes and goes with your mood. Or, after you watch an inspiring video.
Yeah, the Monday morning motivation crash is real. You feel great Sunday night, then traffic hit.
Exactly. So this isn't about chasing that feeling. It's about transformation. Real change built on consistent, repeatable, daily choices. And crucially, making those choices regardless of how you feel at that moment.
Okay, so if we had to boil it all down to one core idea.
It would be this. Success isn't luck. It's not even mostly about raw talent. It's earned. It's the dividend you get from being disciplined. So we're going to spend our time really dissecting how the disciplined approach life differently. And it starts with, maybe surprisingly, how clear they are about what achievement actually looks like.
Right, because we hear it all the time, don't we? People saying, I got lucky or I got a big break. But this material argues it's predictable. How does discipline make success predictable?
Well, the foundation is this core idea that success isn't like mystical. It's almost a science. It's the result of doing certain things in a specific way day in, day out. The sources basically say if you adopt the habits and the behaviors of successful people, you will become successful. It kind of removes the magic, but in a good way.
That's really empowering, actually, because it takes away the excuse that you need some innate genius or special talent.
Yeah.
If it's predictable, then the main difference is just that habit, doing what needs doing, even when your brain is yelling, nope, not today.
Precisely. And let's dig into that consistency versus like bursts of effort, because that's where most people get derailed, isn't it?
Definitely. The New Year's resolution effect.
Totally. Think about those two students studying for a big exam. Student A decides, okay, 20 minutes, focused, every single day, no drama. Student B waits, and waits. Then tries to pull an all-nighter, like 5 hours fueled by energy drinks and sheer panic.
We instinctively know student A wins, right? But why? Psychologically.
Right.
The 5-hour student puts in a lot of raw effort right at the end.
It's the power of accumulation, compounding. Discipline is like growing a tree. You don't drown it once a month with a huge bucket.
You water it a little bit every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Consistent, moderate watering. Those 20 focused minutes build mental pathways. They consolidate memory. It becomes almost effortless over time. The 5-hour panic session, it's intense, sure, but it often leads to just cramming, surface learning, and exhaustion. Burnout.
And it reinforces the idea that studying is awful and painful.
Right. It makes you want to avoid it until the absolute last second next time. Discipline, weirdly, makes the work feel smaller and more manageable over time.
Okay, I like that reframe. Discipline makes work smaller, not harder.
Yeah.
So if discipline is about these small, daily, correct actions, that leads us right into the next piece, which sounds quite challenging. Taking
Right.
100% responsibility.
Yeah, this is the tough love part. If success is predictable based on your actions, then you have to really accept that you are completely responsible for who you are today and who you become tomorrow.
Oof. That's hard, because our instinct is often to blame, isn't it? It feels better momentarily.
It's deeply human. Blame the parents, the bad boss, the economy, the weather. Whatever gives us comfort when things aren't going well.
We hear it constantly.
And this is where we need a bit of nuance, because it's easy to misunderstand this as just beating yourself up. You are not responsible for everything that happens to you. You can't control getting laid off or an accident or, systemic issues.
Okay, that's important.
But, and this is the crucial bit, you are 100% responsible for your response, for what you do next. Responsibility isn't about blaming yourself for the past. It's about taking ownership of your future actions.
That distinction is huge. Blaming the past gives away your power. Focusing on your response, that takes it back.
Absolutely. So the practical step, the mindset shift, is to basically eliminate the vocabulary of victimhood from your thinking.
Filter it out.
Rigorously. No more, I'm too tired, it's not fair, I don't have the time, that's impossible. Those phrases kill discipline dead. You have to replace them actively with things like, okay, it's on me, I'll figure it out, I can fix this, or just simply, let's go.
The story you mentioned, the guy fired after 12 years. That really hits this home. Losing your job like that. External forces are definitely involved. He could have easily gotten stuck in resentment.
Easily. For years, maybe. But he chose, and it was a choice, to use that pain as fuel. Immediately. He didn't waste energy blaming the old company. He took full responsibility for generating his next income. Started an online business.
Worked relentlessly at it, I imagine.
Disciplined effort, day after day. And the result, he turned this awful event into something incredibly positive. Ended up earning more within 2 years than he did at the old job.
Wow. So his success wasn't despite the crisis. It was because of his disciplined response to the crisis.
That's it, exactly. Your reaction is where your power lies.
Okay, so we've got success is predictable through consistency, and consistency demands 100% ownership. But you can own everything and still run around in circles if you don't know where you're going. Discipline needs direction.
That's the third leg of the stool. Absolutely crucial. Discipline needs clear, compelling goals. The sources estimate, and this number is staggering, that having clearly written goals increases your chances of success by something like 1,000%.
1,000%.
Seriously. Think of your brain like the world's most powerful GPS, amazing navigation system. But if you never type in a destination,
You just wander around aimlessly.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
So the why behind the discipline has to be crystal clear. If your goal is fuzzy, like I want to be healthier, your discipline will just dissolve when things get tough.
You need specifics. You can't just wish to be rich, for example.
Wishes are passive. Goals are active decisions. Discipline needs something concrete to latch onto, specific, measurable, time-bound. So instead of, I want financial freedom, which is nice, but vague, the disciplined approach is, okay, I will save $5,000 by December 31st.
Right. Concrete numbers and a deadline.
And crucially, how? I will do this by taking on 10 hours of freelance work every weekend. And I will track my spending daily and cut out all non-essential subscriptions and dining out, starting today.
See, that's a plan. The discipline isn't just wishing for the $5,000, it's sticking to the freelance hours, tracking the spending, the actions that make the goal inevitable.
It gives your brain a map, metrics, a finish line. It makes the abstract concrete.
Okay, so predictable success, full ownership, clear direction. That feels like a solid foundation. Now, how do we build the internal engine, the psychological stuff needed to keep this going long term?
Right, the internal engine. It starts, according to the sources, with choosing personal excellence. And this isn't about comparing yourself to others.
Not about being better than Bob in the next cubicle.
Nope. It's about being better than you were yesterday. It's about defining your own high standard, regardless of whether anyone's watching or giving you a gold star.
That's interesting. The material suggests many people fail, not because they're lazy, but just because they've accepted average. They're okay with good enough.
Yeah.
They lack a personal standard driving them.
That acceptance, it's like a silent killer of potential. The excellence principle is basically choose to go beyond the minimum. Always.
Yeah.
Especially when no one is looking. If you mentally accept a B effort, you'll deliver B results every time.
Okay, but let me push back slightly here. This constant push for excellence, doesn't that risk burnout? We hear so much about hustle culture and damaging perfectionism. How does disciplined excellence avoid that?
That's a really important question, and the distinction is crucial. True, discipline-driven excellence isn't perfectionism. Perfectionism focuses on a flawless outcome, which is utterly exhausting and often paralyzing.
Right, because outcomes are often out of our direct control.
Exactly. Discipline excellence focuses on the effort and the system. It's about showing up fully, consistently, to the best of your ability in that moment within a sustainable process. Think about the two waiters anecdote.
Ah, yes. The one who just does the bare minimum, gets the order, delivers the food.
Versus the one who makes eye contact, smiles, maybe remembers a name, anticipates if you need more water, makes you feel genuinely looked after.
That second waiter isn't necessarily stressed or striving for some impossible ideal of perfect waiting.
No, they've just internalized a standard. My job is to make this person's experience excellent. That reflects on me. It's a disciplined choice about their effort, repeated with every customer.
And that consistent effort builds their reputation.
Which is everything. Reputation comes from performance. Performance comes from discipline. It's a direct chain.
Okay, so excellence defines the quality of the effort, but what provides the spark, the fuel to even start doing something difficult, especially when you're scared? That brings us to courage.
And fear is universal, right? Fear of failing, fear of looking stupid, fear of being rejected. These fears are hardwired. They're meant to keep us safe, which usually means keeping us stuck in our comfort zone.
Where no growth happens.
Precisely. So the big insight here is that courage isn't the absence of fear. You'll probably always feel the fear. Courage is acting while you feel afraid.
Those what-ifs can be paralyzing. People wait years, sometimes forever, for the fear to just go away. But it often doesn't.
Look at the story of the woman who dreamed of opening a bakery. 7 years. Baking in secret, terrified her cakes weren't good enough, terrified of judgment.
7 years is a long time to be held back by fear.
Agonizing. Her moment of courage wasn't when the fear magically vanished. It was when her disciplined desire to actually do it finally became stronger than her fear-driven impulse to hide.
And her first step wasn't some huge, terrifying leap, was it?
No, that's key. It was small. Disciplined. She started selling just 10 cakes a week from home, still felt the fear with every single sale probably.
But she did it anyway. Used discipline to override the fear reflex.
Exactly. Courage is like a muscle. You build it with small, consistent reps, doing slightly uncomfortable things daily, like speaking up in that meeting when you'd rather sink into your chair, asking for that raise, saying no to something you don't want to do, even if it feels awkward. Each tiny act strengthens that action over avoidance pathway in your brain.
Okay, so excellence sets the standard. Courage gets you moving despite fear. But what about, say, 2 months down the line? The initial excitement's gone, results are slow, and frankly, it's just become boring. That's where persistence comes in.
Persistence. This is the great separator, isn't it? The difference between starting strong and actually finishing. Motivation gets you out of the blocks. Persistence gets you across the finish line, especially through that long, hard, boring middle patch.
We see it everywhere. Gyms packed in January, half empty by February, half-finished online courses, business ideas that fizzle out.
It's the starter versus finisher problem. Persistence is often misunderstood, though. People think it's just gritting your teeth and pushing harder.
What's the discipline definition, especially when you're putting in effort but seeing absolutely zero results yet?
Disciplined persistence is the ability to stay committed to the process, to the system, regardless of the immediate feedback or lack thereof. It's refusing to lower your daily standard just because you feel flat or demotivated or because you failed yesterday. It's a quiet, stubborn recommitment each day.
I like that analogy you mentioned, digging for gold. You could be inches away, but if you stop because all you see is dirt, same as last week, you get nothing.
It's a tragic thought, but it happens all the time. The gold is found by those who just keep digging. Even when it feels endless, even when they hit rocks, even when doubt whispers that maybe there's no gold there at all.
Like the boy learning English. 6 months of stumbling, mispronouncing, feeling awkward.
That relentless repetition, even through failure, that was persistence. It wasn't glamorous, it's probably painful, but it guaranteed he'd eventually give that successful speech.
So the key takeaway is sharp. It's not about who starts the fastest. It's about who refuses to stop.
Beautifully put. And once you have this internal engine humming, excellence, courage, persistence, you can start applying it effectively to the external world, to your career, your business.
Right.
Moving into the career space. The sources are pretty blunt here. Your job acts like a mirror. It reflects your level of discipline, your character, and, frankly, where you're headed. Your work ethic isn't this hidden secret. It's visible in everything you do.
The material lays out 3 types of workers, and the disciplined one really stands out. You've got the lazy complaining, needs hand-holding, watches the clock. Then the average does what's asked, avoids trouble, but no real initiative.
And then there's the disciplined worker. They take ownership immediately. They look for problems to solve before being asked. They're always tweaking, improving their processes. They take genuine pride in their work, even the mundane tasks.
And that's why they accelerate so much faster in their careers, right?
Yeah.
They're not waiting for a promotion to start acting like a leader.
Exactly. The story of the young guy in the shoe store, no fancy education, started at the bottom.
Right, sweeping floors, basically.
But his approach was disciplined. He didn't just sweep, he made sure the place was spotless before opening. He arranged the shoes meticulously, always smiled. And the key thing, when his assigned tasks were done, he went to the boss and asked, "What else needs doing? How can I help more?"
While his co-workers were probably checking their phones or complaining.
Likely. And the outcome was totally predictable, wasn't it?
Hmm.
He got promoted, eventually became manager, then started his own successful business. The complainers. Still complaining, probably in the same spot.
It comes back to that powerful principle. How you do one thing is how you do everything. If you're disciplined about cleaning the stockroom, you'll be disciplined about closing a major deal.
That integrity of effort carries through, which naturally leads us into leadership, Chapter 8. Because real leadership, the sources argue, starts with behavior, not a title on a business card.
People follow what you do, not just what you say. You can't preach punctuality if you're always late yourself.
You don't just tell people work harder, you show them what hard, focused work looks like. Leadership is lived, consistently. It's not a speech.
Like the young woman in that marketing team example. She became team leader. Why? Not seniority.
No, it was her demonstrated discipline, arrived early, stayed focused, hit deadlines, helped colleagues without needing praise, never blamed others when things went wrong.
She was basically leading by example long before she got the title.
Exactly. When the role opened up, it was obvious. She had already established her credibility through sheer self-discipline. She managed herself first, and the team naturally wanted to follow that standard. Inspiring discipline in others starts with mastering your own.
Okay, so applying this to the really high-pressure zones, business and sales, chapters 9 and 10.
Yes, Chapter 9 on business discipline. It's a real reality check for aspiring entrepreneurs. Starting a business might feel exciting, like the fun part.
But staying in business, that takes grit, discipline.
Totally. Most businesses don't fail because the idea was bad, or even lack of funding sometimes. They fail because of a lack of discipline around the boring, essential stuff.
Like what? Bookkeeping.
Bookkeeping, yes, but also consistently learning from customer feedback even when it stings, rigorously sticking to the core mission instead of chasing shiny objects, saying no to distractions, doing the unglamorous work day after day.
The online clothing brand founder, 2 months, 0 sales. It's the point where most people would just give up, right? The effort feels totally wasted.
Absolutely. 99% quit there. But he didn't quit the dream. He doubled down on the discipline. Created a rigorous system, wake at 5 a.m. design, post content, reach out to 50 people every single day, no excuses. For 6 months.
You focused on the system, not the immediate results.
And that discipline, that relentless consistency was the bridge that carried him over the chasm of 0 results until month 7 when things finally took off. The lesson is stark. If your dream doesn't demand daily, sometimes boring discipline from you, it's probably just a wish.
And chapter 10, sales discipline. Hits home because, as the sources say, we're all in sales somehow, aren't we? Selling skills, ideas ourselves.
We are. And the core discipline in sales, it boils down to persistence and handling rejection. It's almost entirely a mental game fueled by discipline. The data point is killer. Most salespeople give up after the first no, maybe the second.
But the average sale happens when?
After the 5th contact. Think about that gap. The discipline isn't in being a smooth talker. It's in making that 3rd, 4th, 5th contact, even when the first few were met with silence or a brush off.
Wow. That requires serious discipline to overcome the fear of bothering people or feeling rejected again.
Huge discipline. Look at the real estate agent example. People probably laughed at him sending flyers and messages.
But he wasn't just randomly sending stuff. He had a system.
A discipline system. Daily plan. Call X people. Follow up with Y. Learn 1 new market insight every day for 5 months straight.
Until, boom, the system worked. He closed that big deal.
Because the key sales disciplines are things you control. Tracking your activity, refining your approach after each interaction, learning from failures, and crucially, seeing rejection as just part of the process, not a personal verdict. Trust is built through that relentless consistency, and consistency is just applied discipline.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly to the 3 absolute pillars of personal quality of life: money, time, and health. If discipline breaks down here, success in other areas often feels hollow, or it's built on shaky ground. Chapter 11, financial discipline. This one hits hard. The source says most people don't have a money problem, they have a discipline problem. Is that fair?
It sounds harsh, but there's a lot of truth there. We're often conditioned to spend first, maybe save later if anything's left. We buy based on emotion, fear of missing out, keeping up with the Joneses. We want the pleasure now, not the security later.
So what's the core discipline rule here?
Deceptively simple. Save first, then spend what's left over. Not the other way around. Most people pay bills, buy stuff, and hope something remains for savings.
Which it rarely does.
Exactly. The disciplined person treats saving or investing like a non-negotiable bill. It comes out first. period.
That requires serious willpower, though, right? To resist impulse buys, the fear of missing out, the ego boost from spending. How do you apply discipline practically?
You automate it. You build systems to bypass willpower. The example of the young guy earning just $500 a month, his problem wasn't just the low income, it was the lack of discipline, eating out constantly, useless subscriptions.
Money just vanished.
Until he implemented a discipline. Automatically transfer $50, just $50, to savings the moment he got paid, and created a strict needs-only spending list. His whole relationship with money shifted.
Even on that low income, having that small savings buffer gave him psychological power, didn't it? The power
Yes.
to maybe leave a job he hated.
Immense power. Financial success, the book argues, isn't about complex schemes. It's boring habits repeated relentlessly. Save first, spend second, delay gratification, control emotional spending. The goal isn't just getting rich, it's achieving peace of mind around money. You can't have peace if money controls you.
Okay, pillar 2, time discipline. Chapter 12. This feels like the toughest one for many people today. Time is finite, non-renewable, and yet we waste so much of it.
It's the ultimate paradox, isn't it? Wasting an hour isn't just losing 60 minutes. It's lost progress, lost opportunity, sometimes even lost self-respect when you know you frittered it away.
Time discipline is called the greatest self-discipline.
Why? Because you can't earn more time. You can't save it up for later. You can only allocate the time you have more effectively. And the modern world is designed to steal it.
The just 5 minutes on social media trap.
That turns into 3 hours of mindless scrolling, leaving you feeling drained and guilty. We've all been there.
So how do we fight back? How do we develop time discipline?
It starts with intention. Waking up with a purpose for the day before the phone grabs your attention. Rigorous prioritization. Using tools like the 80-20 rule, identifying the vital 20% of tasks that deliver 80% of your results, and then fiercely protecting time for those tasks.
Which means ruthlessly cutting the time wasters.
Absolutely. Useless meetings, office gossip, aimless web surfing, and a big one, overthinking. Overthinking is just a disciplined form of procrastination. It feels like work, but it produces nothing.
And this leads to that concept of deep time versus long time.
Crucial distinction. 4 hours of deep, focused, uninterrupted work will produce vastly more valuable output than 12 hours of distracted, shallow work, constantly switching tasks and checking notifications.
So discipline here is about protecting your focus.
Protecting your focus is protecting your future. If you don't control your hours, you don't control your life. Simple as that.
Okay, final pillar, health discipline. Chapter 13. This is the one we often sacrifice first, isn't it? The consequences seem distant.
They do, until they're suddenly not distant at all. The core message is, if your body is weak, your mind suffers. Energy plummets, focus frays, willpower weakens. Health isn't about waiting for motivation to strike to go to the gym. It's about respecting your body with consistent daily actions, especially when you don't feel like it.
Skipping one workout seems trivial. Eating one junk meal, no big deal.
But compound those trivial choices over years, and they become ingrained habits. And those habits lead directly to chronic illness, fatigue, and deep regret later in life.
The story of the guy who was too busy working for 12 years ends up having a heart attack at 45. That's a brutal wake-up call.
Brutal. He survived, thankfully, but learned the hard way. The time he didn't have for exercise and healthy eating, it was taken from him tenfold during his recovery. Discipline earlier could have saved him years of suffering.
So what does health discipline look like day to day? It sounds daunting.
Actually, the basics are incredibly simple. It's not about extreme diets or marathon running necessarily. It's consistent small choices. Getting up a bit earlier to move your body, even just a walk. Drinking water instead of soda. Prioritizing sleep, turning off screens an hour before bed.
Small, repeatable actions.
Exactly. The connection between physical health and mental performance, energy levels, even financial success. It's undeniable. A strong, healthy body makes your mind sharper, more resilient. It's foundational. So once you've established discipline in those core pillars, money, time, health, you start unlocking the deeper, more intrinsic rewards. Starting with Chapter 14, happiness. But not happiness as we usually think of it.
Right. The modern idea of happiness is often chasing pleasure, isn't it? The next dopamine hit from Netflix, junk food, social media likes.
Fleeting pleasures. They're often undisciplined choices, actually quick fixes that leave you feeling empty afterwards.
So what's the disciplined path to happiness?
True. Sustainable happiness, the sources argue, isn't something you chase directly. It's a byproduct. It emerges naturally from living a disciplined life. It comes from doing what you know is right, even when it's hard, rather than just what feels easy or good in the moment. It's the deep satisfaction of knowing you put in the effort, you faced challenges, you didn't run away, pride in your own actions.
The example of the woman chasing constant excitement, always feeling restless and miserable.
Yeah, she found real happiness only when she committed to the boring disciplines. Waking early, writing daily, reading, getting her finances in order. She found purpose and satisfaction in the discipline process itself.
So happiness requires discipline in our choices, like saying no sometimes.
Definitely. Disciplines for happiness include saying no firmly to people or commitments that drain your energy, ending relationships that you know are toxic even if it's comfortable, sticking to a sensible bedtime, having the discipline to apologize sincerely when you mess up, speaking your truth even when it's uncomfortable. These acts of self-control build a life you can genuinely feel good about living in.
And that sense of internal alignment, living according to your values,
Mm-hmm.
that seems to lead directly to the next reward, peace of mind, chapter 15.
Yes, and like happiness, inner peace isn't something you just stumble upon. It has to be created intentionally through self-discipline.
What steals our peace? What creates that internal noise and chaos?
According to the sources, living out of alignment with your values, avoiding problems instead of facing them, engaging in gossip, dwelling on regrets, allowing anxiety, often fueled by self-deception, to run rampant.
So the fastest route to peace is truth, and discipline helps you live that truth.
Precisely. If you're lying to yourself or others, if you're compromising your integrity, you pay the price with internal turmoil. Peace requires honesty, and honesty requires discipline.
The story of the outwardly confident guy who is secretly miserable.
Perfect example. He maintained the facade of success-hated job, relationship he didn't want through discipline, ironically, but it was discipline applied to maintaining lies.
He only found peace when he applied discipline to dismantle the lies.
Right. Quitting the job, ending the relationship, deleting distracting apps, creating a disciplined morning routine focused on quiet reflection and honest action. He created peace by aligning his actions with his truth.
So key disciplines for peace include controlling reactions, that pause between stimulus and response.
Huge. Also, the discipline to keep your physical and mental environment clean and uncluttered. The discipline of forgiveness, letting go of grudges that only poison you. And fundamentally, stopping the lies you tell yourself to justify staying stuck. Peace is the quiet reward for consistent, truthful living. And all of this culminates in Chapter 16, building unshakable character. This feels like a highest reward.
Character being, not your reputation, what others think, but who you really are when nobody's looking.
Exactly. It's forged in the small, unseen moments. Choosing to keep a promise, even when inconvenient. Choosing radical honesty, even when a small lie would be easier. Living by your values consistently, not just when it suits you.
The man finding the wallet with $400 desperately needed the money himself. Easy to rationalize keeping it.
So easy. Nobody would know. But his internal discipline, his character, wouldn't let him. He returned it. He walked away poorer in pocket maybe, but richer in self-respect.
And that act of integrity led directly to a job offer from the wallet's owner. Character paid off externally, too.
It often does, eventually. But the primary reward is internal. Character is the sum total of thousands of tiny disciplined choices over time. It's what allows you to remain calm under pressure, tell the truth when it's hard, live with consistency, and sleep soundly at night without guilt. It makes you unshakable because your foundation is solid. And underpinning all of this, the ability to make those choices, to build that character, is the core engine of control, willpower. Chapter 17 calls it the muscle of the mind.
Willpower. The ability to say no to the impulse, right? To control yourself in the moment, to protect a future goal or value.
It's the gatekeeper. It creates that vital pause between feeling an emotion or urge and reacting automatically. You feel angry, willpower stops you from yelling instantly. Feel bored, willpower stops the immediate reach for the phone. It allows you to intercept the impulse and choose a disciplined response instead. It's saying, okay, I feel this urge, but I don't have to act on it.
But we hear that willpower is finite, like a muscle that gets tired. If it runs out during the day, how can we rely on it consistently, and how do we strengthen it?
Great points. It is finite, which means we need discipline in how we use it and build it. We strengthen the willpower muscle through small, consistent reps of self-denial and delaying gratification. Like the young guy quitting sugar, saying no to the cake at the party. That single act wasn't just about sugar, it was a micro win for his self-control. He chose long-term pride over short-term pleasure. That builds the muscle.
So practice saying no in small ways.
Yes. And, crucially, use discipline to reduce the need for heroic willpower. Design your environment for success. If you don't want to eat junk food, don't keep it in the house. The disciplined person sets things up so they don't have to constantly fight massive temptations.
Makes sense. Conserve willpower for when you really need it.
Exactly. Strengthen it by keeping tiny promises to yourself, tracking those small wins to build momentum. And this is critical, getting enough rest. Willpower plummets when you're sleep deprived. Mastering willpower means you become the master of your impulses, not their slave.
Okay, which brings us full circle, back to the beginning in a way. Chapter 18. Discipline plus direction. Achievement. You could have incredible willpower, rock-solid habits, but if you're pointed in the wrong direction,
All that energy is wasted. It's activity without accomplishment. Running hard on a treadmill, going nowhere. The common mistakes are goals that are too fuzzy, I want to be successful, not written down so they remain wishes. Or lack a deadline, so there's no urgency.
like the woman wanting to write a book, someday I'll write a book, is a recipe for never writing it.
Totally useless as a goal. But when she fused discipline with direction, it became, I will write 500 words every single morning at 7 a.m. for the next 60 days.
That's a formula for achievement. Specific, measurable, time-bound, action-oriented.
The goal provides the what and why. The daily discipline provides the how and the unstoppable momentum. Because, let's be honest, goals are exciting at the start, but it's only discipline, that quiet commitment to the daily grind, that gets you through the long, often boring middle part where success is actually forged. When doubt creeps in, discipline is that steady voice saying, keep going, you committed, do the work.
Wow. We've really covered a lot of ground. From building that internal power, courage, persistence through applying it to work, money, time, health, and finally reaching those ultimate rewards of happiness, peace, and solid character. All powered by willpower and directed by clear goals.
It really paints a picture of discipline not as punishment, but as the fundamental process for building a life of purpose and meaning. Remember, motivation is fleeting. It's an emotion. Discipline is a choice, a commitment you make to your future self every single day. It's about deciding what you truly want and then being willing to consistently pay the price for it upfront in daily effort.
So the knowledge is out there now. For everyone listening, the question becomes, what are you going to do with it? The gap between where you are and where you want to be is bridged by the quality of your daily decisions. Will you apply the discipline needed to move beyond just wishing, beyond common complacency, and actually start building that life? Maybe start with just one small, hard thing. The one thing you know you should do today, but have been avoiding. Commit to that.